What's going on, football fans? It's your host, Bad Takes, with Bad Takes in Football, back with another video for you. Gonna dive into the Los Angeles Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game. But before I do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're building an awesome community here where we talk everything NFL football. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out and it's free for you to do. Also, make sure to like and comment on this video. Do you think Matt Stafford is going to pull out this win in Seattle, or is Sam Darnold going to go to his first ever Super Bowl? Let's dive into today's video. This is a very interesting matchup in my opinion for several different reasons, and I'm going to dive into all of those today, but I want to list them all for you and then we'll go into it. Number one, these are NFC West rivals. They've already played each other twice this season, and so this is the third matchup. And when you play a team this many times in one season, something's got to give. You know so much more about your opponent than you would otherwise, and so that makes this even more difficult for each team to win. Number two, you were talking about a veteran MVP quarterback in Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is trying to make it to his second Super Bowl, while Sam Darnold has been a little bit of a journeyman quarterback already in his pretty young career. Sam Darnold is trying to make it to the Super Bowl for the first time. You're talking about experience with players like Matt Stafford, like Davante Adams. These are people that have been there. They know what it takes. And then you have this quarterback in Sam Darnold, who in my opinion is almost like a throwaway quarterback. Even after the good year he had in Minnesota, he's still trying to make a home for himself in a sense. I think that Seattle is clearly that home for him, but there's still a lot of people out there that have their doubts about Sam Darnold. I'm not one of them anymore. I do think a big part of this is the fact that Mike McDonald is a great coach and he's created a really good system for this offense to be prolific, and it's also accented by a dominant defense as well. Another interesting aspect about this game is the fact that Seattle is really hot right now. Seattle beat the 49ers 41-6. Now, the 49ers were very banged up. They didn't have George Kittle in that game, along with other, key players. Fred Warner was talked about potentially coming back. I even did a video on that. It turned out that he wasn't able to play. And so there were a lot of reasons why the 49ers should have lost that game, but 41-6 in a matchup where these two teams have played each other again twice already this season, for Seattle to be able to do that to the 49ers, that's really difficult to do. That is extremely impressive for you to be able to pull out a win like that in the playoffs, because again, Sam Darnold in his one playoff game with the Minnesota Vikings got absolutely spanked. He looked completely out of the water in that one. It didn't look like he had any clue what he was doing out there. He looked flustered. It was almost like that Jets quote back from when he was the Jets quarterback where he said, "I'm seeing ghosts." It looked like he was seeing ghosts in that game, and it felt like this, oh no, Sam Darnold is not that guy. But again, going back to the 49ers game, the Seattle Seahawks absolutely dominated that game. It was the run game. It was the passing game. The defense was clearly dominant in that situation as well. Now, the Rams on the other side of things, they pulled out a win in overtime against the Bears. Now, it was in Chicago. It was in really cold weather. But even before that, this Rams team has been a little bit up and down, to the extent that Sean McVay even had his starters playing in week 18 because he was like, we need to get into a rhythm. We need to get into a flow because we are not playing playoff football. Now, they're 2 games removed from that, right? They're 2 wins removed from that scenario. They beat the Panthers, and then they went ahead and beat the Bears as well. But this is a very tough matchup. You're going into Seattle. The 12th man is a really big advantage for the Seattle team. And again, I'm talking about this defense. The defense of the Seattle side, there's no clear superstar, right? You're not talking about a Myles Garrett or a Micah Parsons out there. It's a group of just really well-rounded, run to the football defensive players. And I really enjoy watching them play. It's actually really fun to watch. The last aspect that I want to talk about is, again, Mike McDonald. He's a second-year head coach. This is the new age of head coaching. up against what used to be the new age of head coaching in Sean McVay. Sean McVay was always seen as the young, new age head coach, and now we have coaches like Mike McDonald that make Sean McVay look old. And so again, who is going to win in that battle? Which coach is going to outcoach the other coach? I respect both of these coaches. I think Sean McVay is an offensive genius. I think it's really interesting how he's able to put together teams and continuously be competitive, even in a lot of crazy cap situations the Rams have found them in. And like I said, Mike McDonald, he's made Sam Darnold look like a Pro Bowl, all pro caliber type of quarterback at times with a team, again, that doesn't really have a lot of superstars. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is probably going to be the biggest name from this team that you're really going to look at and say, hey, this is a superstar. And he's even in his second year right now. So again, you're talking about youth, being young, inexperienced against a very veteran team in the Rams from that perspective. Now, when it comes down to what I actually expect in this game, I think it's going to be a battle back and forth. Matt Stafford does not give up easily. He has proven that in the last 2 games. He has had game-winning or game-tying drives in order to make sure that they get into the overtime or win in overtime. So in this situation, I expect nothing less from him in that perspective. I respect Matt Stafford. I respect Sean McVay. But again, I will tell you this. I am a huge Mike McDonald fan. I think Mike McDonald will be one of those top head coaches around the league and a staple name for a very long time as his career continues to unravel. I'm a fan of Sam Darnold. I like him as a person. I think he's funny. I think he's interesting. And I'm glad that he's actually shining in Seattle. I love to hear, those sort of comeback stories, the people that prove others wrong. That's why I was a big fan of Baker Mayfield at the beginning of the season. I love to see how well he was performing. There was a clear drop off there, but Sam Darnold, he has that ability to change his life forever. He could get a generational deal that coming up based off of his performance in this game and potentially the Super Bowl. In this game, from a prediction perspective, I'm going to have to give the edge to Seattle. Again, they're just playing so well right now. I trust Mike McDonald to have a really good game plan to try to cut out Puka Nacua as much as humanly possible, and probably Devontae Adams as well, and try to force the Rams to run the ball in order to beat this Seattle team, who, again, has such a stout defense, both in the run game and in the pass. I think Seattle wins this game. I think it's a close one, but I wouldn't be surprised if this game ended up being 31-24. Seattle wins this game, and we're going to be seeing Sam Darnold against Drake May in the Super Bowl. What do you think about this game? Who do you think is going to win the coaching matchup? Which quarterback is really going to shine? That's it for me today. Thank you again for watching. This is Bad Takes with Bad Takes in Football, signing out.